Yo, what's up, everybody? This is JH, and today on the Chop It Up show, we have none other than my family-driven society.
Hey.
What up, guys?
I feel like we need a little clap for that.
That's what's up. Yeah, I want you guys to get into who you guys are, but before we go there, just some context for the audience. I've been doing this. I met Natalia. Natalia is a hustler. She's, you're grinding.
Facts.
And you reached out to me initially, like on Twitter. You were looking to build a Hispanic, community. You hit me up. You came to an event. We connected. And Trav, had I already known you then?
No, not yet.
How did we meet?
I had you on the podcast.
Yeah.
You had me on the podcast. Okay, right. So Natia at that time was just starting this, this thing. Or Trav had been rocking and rolling, and you guys became a team, and you invited me on this podcast.
Right.
And that kicked off what I view as a long-term love affair from that moment on. Like, I fell in love with you guys and what you do.
Appreciate
immediately. Day one, like, to me, is more so about heart. Right. And like
100%.
When you have heart, things fall into place because you attract the right people, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, and since then I've been honored enough to have been invited to speak at a number of you guys' things, and I think we always have a good time. So That's just context for the audience. But why don't you guys take turns? We'll start with the ladies first. Just give a little bit of background. What was upbringing like, what you're doing now, and how you got into doing that.
Yeah, of course. So upbringing. Born in Colombia, moved to the U.S. when I was 7. A lot of the same things, like back home, there's little opportunity, the education that your parents want to provide for you. So that was a major reason of why we moved here. And out of all places, my parents decided to move to East Hampton.
Okay.
So
that place to land.
Right? I know. So total working life. My dad's a plumber. My mom's a housekeeper. And I started working at a very early age with one of the best event producers out there. So she was known for putting some of the best fundraisers together. Like one of them was a basketball game fundraiser with Jay-Z, Diddy.
How old were you, by the way, when you got into doing all this?
So I was probably like 12, 13.
That's one thing I know about you is like
calling shots at 12, 13.
You got in the mix early. Okay, cool.
So it was Jay-Z, Diddy, Magic Johnson, and Dennis Rodman. And it was just at a fundraiser, and I don't know, I saw an opportunity there. I realized early on that I really liked connecting with people. So I told the event planner at the time, let me work for you for free. And you introduce me to people that when I get to college, I'll be able to work at the United Nations and I'll get to travel the world.
Smart.
And I was, like 14, 15 at the time. So I just really got to learn about the event world. I mean, I was producing 500 people events that were raising $500,000 at the age of 17.
So you built like a kind of a core skill set, probably even before you even started thinking about like what you want to do and all this other kind of stuff.
Totally.
Now bring me to, Trav, why don't you give us some background, and then I want to get into how you guys met and actually even decide that this would be a thing.
Yeah,
actually.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely. My background, originally from Brooklyn, New York, transitioned there to Barbados. My mom, who's the hero of my life, decided to grind, sent us to the islands, which is a lot of West Indian, Caribbean stories are like that. So I lived there for 3 years. At that point, my grandfather was the most pivotal figure in my life, and just gave me my moral compass, my love for people, the way I feel about bringing people together, and networking, and just really amplifying your network. And then I came back. My mom bought a house. She said, I did it. I grinded. I stacked, bought a house, bought a car, moved us back to Jersey. At that point, was growing up in Jersey, doing a lot of things, different things. I know I wanted to be rich. So I was like, why not real estate? Why not real estate and come back to New York? Because that's where the money's at.
Oh, okay.
I came back to New York. Was doing real estate for a while.
Like being a broker or something?
Yeah, I was actually an agent, and then I worked for an investment company.
Okay.
So around that time, I was grinding, in these streets, looking for properties for the investment company to invest in. It was like 2006, 2007. You know, my godbrother was doing it. He was like, yo, you should come and you should really get busy with this stuff because we're making a lot of money. We're making this much amount of money on every property we found, and you can do sales.
Yep.
So I was like, all right, 19, got my license, came out. He was like, yo, I want you to work with this guy. And he introduced me to Franz. And me and Franz just started busting it up, doing real estate. And then the bubble popped.
Yep.
I needed something
for everyone. Yep.
Crazy.
Was looking for something more. I realized, you know, real estate was great for building wealth, but it was something that I wanted to do with my life that made money as well as fed my soul.
Right.
At that point, Driven Society was born.
And so now just give us the one line. By the way, this is for the audience. This is our first time doing a nighttime show.
Hey.
So like the move feels different.
Yes.
It feels right. I'm digging it.
Cheers,
we got
guys.
Some wine. We got a little
Salud.
toast. You know what I'm saying? To family.
Yes.
So at some point, by the way, it's bad luck to toast and not sip.
It's bad luck.
It's bad luck, Papa.
Let me make it happen.
So give us, and it's also our first time with a team because it's just like solo folks. So this is kind of cool for me.
Dope.
But give us the one liner, like a concise version of what Driven Society is for those that don't know. Our audiences actually overlap a lot.
Okay.
So a lot of people will have context, but for those that don't know, what is Driven Society and what are you guys doing?
Absolutely. Driven Society is one part educational organization that provides tools, resources, and events to the community. Events that we line up with themes of financial literacy, personal and self-development, and financial development. We also are an agency that produces events, campaigns, and content that deeply inspires multicultural millennials. So we've done everything from produced to HBO's Latino Film Festival. We have a podcast with Red Bull. We've powered live talks with cultural figures from Lena Waithe, Damon Dash, Julia Mitchell. We've partnered with Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival where we work together at that point. Yep. So we do a lot of live events, talks specifically for the culture, and we help brands work with the culture as well.
Ooh. Anything to add to that?
Yo, elevator speech down pat.
Anything to add?
I mean, I think for us, it's just really important to tell the stories of minorities in a way that celebrates them and in a way that, just keeps adding on to the communities. And that's one thing that we're always looking to do. And then two, just really staying ahead of just setting trends within our spaces. Is like really something that we always look to do.
Absolutely.
The reason I knew you guys were a must for this show is because something I've been chopping it up about with all the people that have been coming through here. I'm in this mind space right now where, you know, the greats that came before us and kind of paved the way, you know, and irrespective of what field, and music is Hove, and, you know, and content maybe is Gary's, a bunch of these cats.
Right.
Like, I'm leaning more and more these days into our own roadmap. Like, they've been our age, but they haven't been our age now.
Exactly. Yeah. It's totally different now.
It's totally different now. Totally
that formula's changed
now.
Absolutely.
And so when people, sometimes I get asked like, yo, who do you look up to? And like, I honestly have a hard time coming up with the answer because my real answer is like I look up to who I'm gonna be in 20 years.
Word.
Like, and I want us to kind of develop that. And I'm looking now towards my peers, and I consider us peers.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Like Alex, us, Aunt Frazier, Julian. Like we're all peers in this space.
Absolutely.
And in 20 years, we're gonna look back and remember. This golden era.
Sure. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel the same way.
But the thing is that's key about Driven Society is that you guys cultivate the spaces where a lot of us are meeting and building and breaking bread. And also, you're doing it in a way, like what I love about what you guys do is it's like community cultivation first, and you're finding integrations with brands, right? You're working with brands that align in kind of an organic way. You know what I'm saying? So inadvertently or overtly, depending on like how intentional you guys were about it, what you guys are actually doing for us and for me is like exposing me to how it is that we can build with these brands in that way. You know what I'm saying? So I want you guys to explore that a little bit. You guys can bounce back and forth. Help me understand, like, how is it that you guys are thinking about, being community rooted, but working with brands, because I think some people have the sense that it's a sellout, like, but you guys don't feel like that at all.
Right.
And you guys play a very important role in the space right now.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, shout out to you guys for that.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
But yeah, get into that a little bit. Break that down for me a little bit. How, you know what I'm saying? How do you guys even approach thinking about all this?
We could first talk about like how we met. You know what I mean? We met we met at a conference. You know what I mean? We met at a conference.
It was a 2020 shift event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was super dope. I was sitting down at the table. Nat comes over networking. She's great at that. And I told her about the list of things about what Driven Society is doing. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, like, I wonder if she even believes or even cares about. I legit remember thinking that. You know what I mean? Like, if
Do
she
you then remember me going on the website and sending you an email with all the things that I think she
did. Right after. We had like coffee like in the meat packet this year, right? And we just started building. So one thing was, and I'll let you take it from here, but one thing that's definitely similar about us is that I'm
moving it up a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. Similar about us is that not only do we love being in the spaces where people are together, like we love, curating these spaces and providing information. We also have a love and a passion for agency-esque type work. And we don't have that background, but we've seen things we've liked in the space, and we said to each other, like, we could do that. You know what I mean? And we always felt like we could do these things, and we understood what was dope, and we figured out a way to really apply it to what we were doing now and create a whole new model.
Yeah, and I think two things that, going back to the question and like the integration of brands, but then also cultivating that space. I think one thing that has always been super important for us is to essentially really be able to spot the people that are gonna just they're gonna come up with the ideas that are gonna inspire everyone around them.
So you're talking about like your curation of speakers or something like
yeah, for involved. Sure. Yeah. And the people that we bring to the podcast and even the events that we put together. We're really always like talking about all the really dope individuals in the room, and it's like who's doing this, who's doing what. Even with when we partnered up with Julian Mitchell on the Get Paid to Be Yourself talks,
which we got to break down, by the way, because that has been a signature for you guys.
Yeah, we love those. Yeah. We were reading these articles, and it was like he was just highlighting these people that were really impacting the spaces, and it was like why not create a conversation out of this, a live conversation. So it's been really important for us to like say who's working on what and how can we bring them into this community and really like just kind of like bring things live because of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, since I love this space, like I'm a fan of it. I like learning from everybody. My peers.
You're a student of the game.
Absolutely, right. And I can look at something and deem like that shit is dope. You know what I mean? Whether it could be somebody speaking or someone like they're saying something or they're doing something in their own way that that just relates to me or like it sparks something in me, and I'm like, I want to champion that. You know what I mean? There's no ego when it comes to champion that. Like, exactly. If I love it, I love it, and I want to give it the platform. You know what I'm saying?
And that's one thing. That's one thing that comes across actually in the community that you guys built, because maybe is that stay driven. Like it almost feels like whomever it is that I've spoken alongside at your guys' events, or have met there as an attendee or whatever, it's like that tribe kind of feeling.
Right.
So it's got an inherent quality of like, we're uplifting each other.
Yeah.
Like this is that space where we do that.
Absolutely.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? But so you guys spot who is doing something that you guys fuck with, and then roll them in to what you're doing. Perhaps most notably, your Latino Film Festival is a fire activation, and also Julian Mitchell's Get Paid to Be Yourself, where you've had like Damon, you've had a bunch of these
Lena
cats.
Waithe.
Lena Waithe, who I'm getting a chance to meet. She's real cool.
Oh.
Her fiance, by the way, Alana Mayo, is Michael B. Jordan's right-hand production person.
Really? That's interesting.
And we're in the kitchen right now cooking something.
Because he has a production company
called
Who
aren't you?
Outliers, right?
We're
in the kitchen right now.
That's fine.
So, all right.
So, the second thing too is like at the same time, brands are here to stay. I mean, brands are never going to go anywhere. So to the point about selling out, I mean, obviously it's important to understand what brands stand for and what brands believe. But brands are here and they're profiting from us on a daily basis. I mean, just our 2 groups alone, like we purchase so much, we have so much buying power. How can we bring that into our communities?
Right.
And that's something that, you know, when we work with brands, it's all about that. It's like, how can we bring that money back into our community?
It's part of the culture. And like, you know, you guys likely know, you know, since I'm business minded, that I'm going, and, you know, I love the opportunity to work with you guys because of the audience, and there's an overlap in audience, but also, you know, I'm looking to build relationships with these brands.
Absolutely.
And you know, it's interesting because long term for me, my goal is that we build the companies that matter tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But the reality is that you can't get there overnight. And there's probably like a 20-year period, in my view, that's the transition period, the passing the baton, where BET passes it to Blavity. You know, where, you know what I'm saying, it's like all our companies, you know, fucking Gillette passes the torch to Bevel. You know what I mean? And all the companies that we're founding are slowly getting in position to get that baton passed. So right now I view these brands as like, okay, you know, how can we leverage them to set ourselves up?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and that's just being real.
Yeah, because it's like, even with that sellout, like, I can never take that sellout shit seriously at all. First of all, my tribe is
break that down.
Like, our tribe is really from, you know, where they're from Brooklyn, from the streets. Our tribe is really from there. We don't have, we didn't come into space with a whole corporate background or anything like that. We came into space with a purpose, which is number one, and number two, insight in the community. So I was, you know, with Ron Bass, the artist, visual artist, who just did a campaign at Ellen. I remember we was in his basement a few years ago. He was telling me about his plans and his vision, what he was going through with his family. And
I love those moments.
After that, it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember, you know, a few people in the space that, you know, I've worked with, built with, and see how they've grown, because we really have came up. Like, we were really part of this. So it makes the whole thing a whole little different. As far as brands, like, you know, they need that understanding. They need that understanding of how to engage this culture and how to engage this community. So it's only right they go through us, because they're trying to go through other people and they're paying them thousands, hundreds of thousands, $1 million to go to other people to touch our community. They need to come through us, and we need to make sure that they come correctly.
And part of what I love about doing this, by the way, is, you know, this is now on the record. And so, like, you know, we're going to be able to, like, chronicle this, look back in time, and like the same shit that we're talking about now, as we see it play out, is going to be really, you know, really fascinating, man. And like,
and exciting.
It's an exciting. And for me, like, this whole thing for me really is about, I want to have my own footprint on the game. Yeah. I want to have, like, I look up the cats that I look up to, like, perfected their game in their own way. Yeah. You know, and early on, like, you know, I left school and I was actually used to get into my head about that. And then I realized, these motherfuckers that you know, go through similar paths, like similar school, similar job, back to similar school for MBA, by definition, mass manufactured.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And like, I knew that I could never have distinct insight if I went the same way everyone's going, right? Because you get conditioned to think in a certain way. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna try and carve my own lane, and I don't know what that's gonna be. And every move that I've done, I've optimized for narrative over dollars.
For sure.
Narrative over dollars. Like, I'm always, you know, thinking about what's the move that is, you know, evokes the most emotional response in a genuine way, not like putting on a stunt. Like, what's truest to me, even if it doesn't make $.cents at this moment, trusting that the narrative is going to get there. And like, the way that played out for me was with Co-Found Harlem specifically. I remember, bro, this was before when I knew both of you guys, actually. Yeah. Maybe you had heard about the incubator. Hopefully we made a little bit of noise, but essentially we did this incubator. It was a crazy idea. I had just gotten off, you know, my first exit, and I was like, yo, what are we going to do? And we did this incubator where You know, and by the way, by incubator, I mean I can convince a Jewish guy to give me free space for a year because I was like, yo, it's just going to be popping. I'm going to have companies going through this space. Right. We're not going to charge anything, but they had to make a commitment to stay here in Harlem after the program. Right. Gotcha. And like, everyone's like, yo, that sounds awesome, but how are you going to get paid? That was always a question, like, yo, how are you going to get paid? Mm-hmm. And I would be like, oh, there's no shortage of ways of getting paid, just talking mad shit. Right. But in reality, I was like, yo, how are we actually going to get paid? Right. You know, and that project was an example of a time for me when I invested everything I had into there, resources, time, energy, and I didn't come up really with a way that it was going to make, financial sense. Mm-hmm. And I went through some of the hardest times in my personal, journey running Co-Found. And now it's so beautiful to me that I'm having wildly differentiated opportunities, on TV. You guys know the deal. I can't talk about it on camera at the moment, but like I'm having wildly differentiated opportunities that the mass manufactured crowd. Shout out to Power 100. Thank you guys. But that, you know what I'm saying? Like those opportunities are not coming to the mass manufactured. They're coming to the people that optimize and did something different.
Sure. Exactly. It gives you a unique perspective that people that are, that are like thinking the same don't have. And I think that's what it goes back to driven society. We can tell you about this multicultural millennial community because that's who we are. And that's how we, communicate with brands. Like we can actually speak our own language, obviously. So why not choose us to speak to others that are like us? There's nothing worse than like, what's the worst like brand attempt that you guys have seen to sound like hip and end up looking like fucking, yuppies?
Brand attempt to sound hip. Actually, it's actually more the other way around. Like they kind of off the rip they see the community, right? So instead of more like, actually, I do got one story. I don't know if I can name the brand, but they see the community we've building, and they always, if they're smart enough, they want to integrate themselves within that community. And for our initial startup, that's just how it always started. Like, how do we be a part? How can we seamlessly, be activated within you guys' events or content? How can we seamlessly be a part of that community? And it's us then, us showing them the way. But I've had brands try to come up with campaigns that wasn't it. It wasn't it, Chief. You know what I mean? Try to like, maybe, you gotta let them know sometimes. Maybe this so cool. Maybe this sounds cool. I'm like, you don't want to do that. Let's brainstorm on that.
Right. That's when someone hits you with the let's brainstorm line, you know what time it is.
Right. Exactly. You gotta switch it up.
You gotta switch that shit up.
Absolutely.
Yo, so I do want to know what's next in your guys' sleeves. I know you guys are always pushing the bounds. I know you're going to continue executing on great experiences. What's next that you have that you're excited about? And also, for the record, fuck it, let's throw out there on the camera right now, like, I want you to speak some shit into existence right now. Like, what are some activations that you think about, you're fired up, like, yo, I want to work with such and such on, this capacity. Like, throw those out right now. I want to hear them.
Right now? Go for it.
What's first? What's next?
No, shoot me. What's next is later. Shoot me, like, what are some dream activations right now? Some shit that you want to get popping.
I definitely want to work with Troy Carter in a tech music culture space.
Shout out Troy Carter.
Definitely want to work with Troy Carter.
Okay.
Creating a different type of, with the future of AI, future of VR.
Got you.
How that's going to be integrated in culture and branding. I think there's a space there for something, you know what I mean? For a really fire activation. Don't want to throw out nothing too many ideas, but
okay.
I think there's a space for that. Definitely want to work with the legend Hove, Hove Vito.
Yo, come through.
If we putting it out there, definitely want to work with Hove.
Okay.
I'll let that go.
Well, all right. First one, J Balvin. Man.
Who's that?
Are you kidding me?
Nah. Break that.
J Balvin?
Nah. Is this someone that I should know that I don't know?
The reggaeton artist, J Balvin.
It's kind of
Mi Gente.
Is this the?
Yes, but that's with Nicky Jam.
Oh, okay. So
Mi Gente.
How's it go? Sing it.
Si el mundo te.
Don't front like you don't know because we're on camera.
No. Y toda mi gente se mueve.
Hey, okay.
And he did the remix with Beyonce.
I got you.
But no, so he's really breaking, so many boundaries right now. Him and Bad Bunny just got the Complex cover. Wow. It's the first Latin American artist that
shout out those guys.
Get the Complex cover. Bad Bunny's another one. I don't know if you know who that is either.
Yeah, Bad Bunny.
So
I've been seeing. I caught him on the Will Smith collab.
Yeah.
Will Smith's been
and he just did a song with Drake, and Drake sang in Spanish.
Yeah, Mia, right?
Yeah.
Tú sabes que tú eres
yes.
Mia, or
yes. So now, can we say Drake is Dominican?
Yo, Drake actually sounded pretty good on that.
Yeah, he sounded good.
It was not bad.
Yeah.
And he kind of looks Dominican.
He does.
He's Jewish, but he looks Dominican.
No, but definitely would love to work with them. J Balvin just came out with his first fashion line. And for his last album, Vibras, for his album release party, he's really into dinosaurs. And he had dinosaurs everywhere. And it was just
so random as a reggaeton artist to be into dinosaurs.
But he's so freaking smart. I think he's the one artist that was really able to unite the Latino community, where he's all about collaboration versus I'm the best artist.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
And he's breaking boundaries for that. So that's one that I would love.
Awesome.
I want to do a live talk with him. So
that's
J Balvin,
awesome.
if you ever listen to
this.
this.
That's one thing. Yeah, and this is why we do these, by the way. Because when you work with J Balvin and Troy Carter, you're going to flash back.
It's going to happen.
But include this, okay? So, hey, you are now... So I'm addressing this to your audience in the future.
Good.
Right? And I want you to play this clip.
Let's do it.
We'll do it.
Hey guys, what's going on? We're sitting here right now recording the Chop It Up show, and Nat and Trav are speaking into existence the fact that this event is going to happen.
There you go.
So when we say stay driven and we say driven society, we actually mean that shit.
There you go.
Stay driven.
You already know.
Play that shit at the events, please.
Yes, sir.
But one thing that I just want to give you a shout out for is you have been very adamant about being a voice for the Latino community, in a much more significant capacity than I've taken on. For instance, I'm Dominican. And there are one thing that our brothers and sisters kind of take for granted is, even though the majority of the professional workforce or whatever is, white and people in position of power, whatever, there is a subset, even though it's small, but there is a subset of mostly black people in the space. When you think of someone of color that's in a position of power, more often than not, it's black. And I know because I've been raising money for Harlem Capital, and we're knocking on the door of every motherfucker who has money that's of color, so they can invest in us, so that we can invest their money and we make bread together, whatever. But the point is, it was not too long ago, I sat down with a brother who was Dominican specifically, and it struck me. I was like, wow, this is the first wealthy Dominican man I've sat with. And I let him know I got a little emotional. I found myself getting a little emotional because, I've met like black folks that are, and that resonates with me too, but it's resonated with me in a very particularized way because he was Dominican and he was born over there. And we're talking I've met some rich Dominican folks, but we're talking he was 50 to 100 mil. Now we're fucking wealthy.
Yeah.
But I do want to give you a shout out because you've been a voice for the Latino community.
Absolutely.
Always representing, always lifting up other Latinos.
She puts me on.
Yeah, man. You do your thing in that regard. Thank you.
Absolutely. Representation matters.
It really does, yeah.
It does. And that's just not a corny political saying. That shit matters.
Absolutely.
So shout out to you. I don't know if you want to shout out any of your I'm treating this like a shout out fest. Anyway, all right. So let's switch gears. What's next for Driven Society? And I want the audience to know what to look forward to here.
Indeed. I think this year has been a great year. We definitely caught a momentum. Being really heavily community based and producing these, Driven Society's been an events and media company, and then us being able to evolve and be an agency and get sought out by brands and get RSPs.
And did you have a hard time, be honest, kind of figuring that out, that transition?
Great question, man. That transition has been challenging and rewarding at the same time. For the simple fact that we don't have the conventional education on it, but we've been able to do it by building our community and our network first, right? Most of the time people, have the jobs, have the, the contacts, the, pitch brand stuff because they have the ideas. We came into the space saying that you have to know who we are because we actually have people behind us. Like we can, create a wave because we have a community, we have a newsletter we already started, we have a following, we have a tribe, you know what I mean? And we came in the game from that space. And then most of the brands that we've been able to work with has, initially started from like personal relationships from our actual peer base from the last 3-4 years of us doing stuff are now in position. And our work that we've been doing and our networking game has been strong. We've been able to like, engage with people, send them the right type of information that we had to learn what's the right information to send.
Exactly. And how do you learn that, right? Like, did you guys ask people who were already doing it? But more often than not, what you're doing is so distinguished that it's hard to look to other people, right? And so did you guys like have to stumble your way through it, or how did that go?
It was a stumble.
I think we stumbled, but I think our learning curve is...
It's on point.
Yeah. I think you have one bad meeting and you never had, not you never, but you really learn from it.
Sure.
But I don't know. I go back to my event production days where I was saying, let me work for free and introduce me to the people. And so I think for me, it's like, once you start learning about a brand, it's, who do you have to speak to?
Exactly.
Who has the power to make decisions? And I think once we learned that with one brand, it was like, all right, now we just have to multiply. Now we just have to be, meeting as many people as we can. And it started with having brands to be on these panels and wanting to make sure that a lot of brands and industries were being represented. And then it turned into, okay, let's start building relationships with these brands.
Right. Smart.
But I think once we met a brand, it was understanding the structure within the brand to make moves.
Right. So we engage them by, invite them to be a part of our events, be a part of our culture, our community. And then when they see it, it's like, oh, okay. Now that relationship is more deeper than just a coffee.
That's value.
I put you in front of people. You engage with the community. You see what the key want. You understand that there's people that want to speak with you and actually champion you too. So, we provide that energy. And then I remember, just speaking to people and running up on the right people. If they like your vibe, they'll respond. It's just, how about you? How do you engage them? Like, I remember Anastasia Wright, who's like a mentor of mine.
I've heard that name and seen her around, but I haven't met her.
She started a women-owned and operated indie music label. And then she also does marketing.
Yeah, she does
for Janet Jackson.
Yep.
So that
I met her and she was like, oh yeah, tell me what you do. Send me your deck. And I'm like, okay, no doubt. Didn't know what a deck was. You know what I'm saying? But she was cool enough that I was still able to hit her up and be like, yo, I'll be honest, I don't know. Boom, she sent me something. It was just like an example.
Oh, wow.
Like,
you were open with her.
Absolutely.
And you were like, yo, let me know what I need to send you.
Exactly.
That's some real shit, bro.
I was just so raw. Like, I didn't know, we were doing showcases and, putting together, like, collective type events and art shows. Shout out to Franz and, different type of music events. And, we were just doing it because we liked it. We had an Instagram account.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I knew I had a vision, and, we liked this space.
Right.
But I didn't know the corporate side of things. And, that's kind of like even how I met Nat.
Yeah, I was just about to.
Her production experience, like, I was rough. You know what I mean? Like, I was rough. And her production experience was like, yo, trap.
That learning curve that I was talking about?
Yeah. So it's a funny story. I won't get into too much detail because but funny story is like, I met Nat. We have maybe like, and this is how I am with people, right? Like, once I meet you and I fuck with you, it's kind of like,
that's it.
I know really quick. Like, I have a lot of personal relationships in the space. A lot of people, my people.
Yeah.
Because I fuck with you. Like, I fuck with you. You know what I mean? So I met Nat and I'm like, baby, we do this. They come on the podcast. And I think she came to maybe like 1 or 2 events. And then I got like my first, at that point, we got our first production gig for an agency.
Yeah.
I think I went to that,
you
guys.
Did. You did. Oh my gosh.
Oh shit, you did go to that. That's
we
crazy.
went to that.
To the fundraiser.
To the fundraiser.
Yes.
I went. Yo.
Yo, the fundraiser was cool, and you saw it was a fundraiser and it was a focus group during the day, and it was definitely a challenging job. And at that point, me and Nat, we were fairly new knowing each other.
Yep.
But we had to handle all of these issues that came up. We had to handle all these, these problems and things and work through it.
Right.
And then how we worked through it was just like, we got it done. You know what I mean? We got it done. Shout out to that, but we got it done.
Word.
But long story short, after that, I was like, I could work with her. I needed that,
right.
You know what I mean? To
really know.
Exactly.
Right. Wow.
Man, I remember, I don't know if you remember this, Travis. We would just work and then we'd be done with work and it's like, all right, let's go do this deck now.
Yeah.
And we were going into like the smallest Starbucks where there was no seating, but we're like, we gotta submit this deck today.
I actually remember when Nat was deliberating, like she was like, yeah, I'm, driven society. But you had also just like known that you wanted to do the real estate thing, like that was just popping up for you. It came up in your life at the same time.
Yeah.
And you were like, I remember you explicitly saying like, yeah, I fucks with Trav. Like I like Trav, and I think that there's something here, and I'm gonna like be for real about building this.
Man, you've known me for a long time.
Yeah, and so that's why it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Going back to the peer thing, like that's what moves me, man.
Yeah,
the fact that,
for sure.
Because what happens is over time, people who like the folks who persevere are lesser and lesser in numbers. So the circles get smaller.
Absolutely.
And it comes and goes in generations,
that's
right?
That's exactly what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I love Issa Rae's point of what is it? Networking laterally. Yeah. Is that the same? Across.
Yeah, laterally.
Yeah.
Same thing.
We use big words. Trav's like same. I knew it was the same shit. Yo, but
no, but it's this thing of who's around you and how can you build yourself up.
That's it. And we did get sidetracked because that was totally worthwhile because that shit was awesome.
I know.
You guys were talking about what you have coming up next.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And then we got into something that I found really valuable, which was like how you guys go about when you get into a brand like disperse, get to know the right people, and bring that to life.
Mm-hmm.
Can you name, I'm not sure how much you could talk about, but can you name 1, 2, 3 things that you guys have coming up in the pipeline that the audience should know about?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first I just want to say too, like a lot of, our relationships came from like 2 years, a lot of it doing a lot of free work.
Right.
I have an 80-20 rule where it's like I will give in, 20% of free work in the beginning just to make sure my 80% is covered, just to make sure it builds a relationship.
I like
it shows
that.
what we work, shows what we do. And that's came from the last 2 years. That's pretty much, a lot of our relationships has developed over that time. And people have seen that we're serious about what we do and we're serious about what we're trying to build. But in the future, we kind of really want to amplify all the products we've created, like all the event assets we created this year.
Because they're solid assets.
Solid, you know what I mean? Yeah. You're going to see more live talks, more exclusive talks. You're going to see with major cultural figures.
Cool.
The Reserve, our marketplace, our business expo.
Cool.
You're definitely going to see that amplified.
So you have so just for the audience right now, so you have a marketplace. So if you are, you have a business, let them know, Trav.
Yeah, definitely. If you have a business, a brand, a small business, and you want to activate that brand, activate that business within the community, showcase your product, just start building that community around your brand. You come to the Reserve. I sound like Suge and social work. Come over, no producers in your video, but yeah, come to the Reserve. We provide tools and resources for entrepreneurs like you to showcase your products, get point of sales, and start developing a social following as well too.
Fire. So you have the Reserve, you have Get Paid to Be Yourself with Julian Mitchell.
Absolutely.
Where he talks about exactly doing that. You have
you have our Soundbite panel, which is a music and tech panel and event series. We partnered with Courvoisier and WeWork and did one this year. It was amazing. We had companies from Translation to Republic to Audio Mac. Who else? Another brand was on there. So Afropunk was on there as well too.
Nice.
We also have our partnerships that we do. We're gonna see a lot of different partnerships coming up next year.
Cool.
Some really cool partnerships with Moet Hennessy. You'll see again. A lot of cool brands coming up this next year. Also the next season of our podcast as well too with Red Bull. So that's gonna be there. And HBO Latino Film Festival. We're on board to do that
you
again
guys are doing
for a year too.
Big stuff there.
Yeah.
Awesome. So just so make a promo code right now, JHFAM. JHFAM. If anyone has made it this far in the podcast and you're still listening, you want to fucks with Driven Society, check out event. Type in promo code JHFAM and you'll get a little bit of a discount or whatever. We'll treat,
we got you.
Do them up real nice.
Let's do it.
But yeah, anything in closing, guys, before we wrap? This has been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I'll leave a word to anybody on their grind that's, feel like it's not happening, feel like it's not coming in time. Just keep pushing through. Believe in God, believe in your purpose. And, if you need that community to help amplify you, power you, look up Driven Society. And that's it. Peace and blessings.
Hey.
Very inspiring. Definitely. We're working super hard to bring some amazing programming. You're going to see a lot more Latinx programming next year, which I'm super excited about. You're going to see us working with some dope brands. And, we just really want to celebrate our communities. We really want to tell stories that matter. We really want to inspire everyone around us to know that they can get to the next level, to know that they can impact this space. And that's something that is just, we're always looking for that next thing to be doing.
Awesome.
So we just want to tell and celebrate the stories.
And shout out to Franz, Zuhaib, JB, the whole team.
The whole team, man.
Cheyenne.
Tati,
Risha, Kiki.
Yeah.
Yo, guys, thank you so much.
You
already know what
Shout
it
out
is.
to this brother real quick, man. John is the type of guy that makes whatever. If you're not thinking big enough, you go around John, you're gonna have to think big enough. It's like there's no way around it. John thinks in a whole different stratosphere. You just be like, damn, I could do that too. Like, damn, like John is just different, man.
I
So
appreciate that.
Salute
man.
to you, brother.
I
real.
appreciate that, man.
Inspiration.
Yeah, for sure.
Yo, I appreciate that.
It's like so crazy to see like how far. I remember, now that you mention it, I remember those like beginning like meetings where it was just like, oh, I want to be doing this and I want to be doing that, and to see all these things come to life, from the podcast to the TV show. It's
Thank
super
you guys,
inspiring.
Man. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Much love. This has been real. Chop it up. Episode, whatever it is a wrap.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Stay driven, guys.
Stay driven.
Stay driven.